Hi everyone, I've just been asked about question 10 on exercise level 2, so I'm just going to have a quick look at that question and post this up on YouTube. So for starters, you've got a square root function. So it's a square root function, and we know that we have to have the square root of something which is 0 or more, so that gives us a starting value anyway. So if x is 3 over 7, so that would be the starting value. So let's say this is 1, 2, etc. So 3 over 7 is around about here. So we've got some square root function coming out like this on 3 over 7, roughly. Now, it's not really that important if we actually draw a graph for this. However, it can be quite useful just to visualize what we're doing, especially when you're not used to doing so many of these questions. So the question says we've got this equation, the normal to the curve at the point x equals 4 meets the x-axis at the point P. Work out the coordinates of point P. Okay, so the first thing, it says the normal to the curve at the point where x equals 4. So x equals 4 is over here somewhere. And before you even read any further on, I'm hoping that you will think, well, it's going to be useful if I find out what the equation of the normal is. So the tangent obviously would go across like this. The normal will be at right angles to that. So here's the normal here. And so what we're trying to find is this value of P, the x coordinate specifically. So there's a number of steps to this. We want to find out what the equation of the tangent is, because if we know what the equation of the tangent is, we can work out what the, we want to know the gradient of the tangent, because if we know the gradient of the tangent, we can find the gradient of the normal. If we know the gradient of the normal and we know what this point is here, then we can work out what the equation of the normal is, and then we can just say, okay, well, what's the x-intercept for that equation of a line? So for the person who specifically asked this question, that might be enough to get you going. If not, then let's crack on together. So first of all, finding the equation of the tangent. Feel free to pause the video and have a go at that. I'm just going to keep going, but I'll just I'll just say the word pause every time before I'm about to start doing the answer. So pause now. So dy dx gives me the tangent for the gradient of the tangent for this curve here. We've got dy dx equals 7x minus 3 to the half. And using the chain rule, oops a daisy, let me try that again. So if y equals this, then dy dx is bring the power down, reduce the power by 1, and then times by the differential of the inside of the bracket. So that gives me 7 over 2, 7x minus 3 to the minus a half. I want to work out the gradient specifically of the tangent at x equals 4. So at x equals 4, dy dx is equal to 7 over 2. 4 times 7 is 28. Take away 3 to the minus a half, which is 7 over 2. 25 to the minus half is 1 over the square root of 25, which just equals 7 over 10. Okay, so we've got let's start again. We've got the gradient of the tangent going through this point, and we know that if we've got the gradient of that one, we can work out the gradient of this line, the normal, because they are perpendicular to each other. And our link between those two is that two gradients that are perpendicular, when you times them together, their gradient is -1. So what I'd like you to do now is work out the gradient of the normal, and then try and work out the equation of the normal itself. So just pause now. So 7 over 10 is the equation of my tangent, m2 is the equation of my normal. Therefore, the gradient of my normal, so the gradient of my normal is going to be minus 10 over 7. I feel like I keep saying equation and gradient all the way around, I do apologise. So I know that one. I also need to know one of the points on the line. I know this is x equals 4, but I don't know what the y coordinate is. So let's go back down here and just see. We've got y is equal to 7x take away 3 to the minus a half. If I stick 4 in there, I've got 28 minus 3 to the minus a half. Try again, that should be a half, not minus a half. That's the equation of the line. And so 28 minus 3 is 25, 25 to the half is just 5. So I want to work out the equation of the normal. It goes through 4, 5, and the gradient's minus 10 over 7. So using y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, I've got y minus 5 is equal to minus 10 over 7 x minus 4. I times everything by 7, I get 7y minus 35 equals minus 10x plus 40. And so 7y plus 10x, and if I add 35 to both sides, equals 75. Okay, so that's the equation of my normal, and I want to know what happens, what the x coordinate is of P. Well, the y coordinate of P is obviously y equals 0, and so if I stick y equals 0 in here, this is just going to become 10x equals 75, which implies that x is just 7.5. Yuck, decimal. Okay, hopefully that's useful, and keep those questions coming in if you're struggling with something.